¿Qué pasa, YouTube? 6fthax here. Have for you guys today one hell of a battle that I had off of my stream last week against KidofDeath. Of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to hammer that like button down below to answer the question of the day. Really do appreciate your guys' support. I know I say it all the time, but I want you guys to know I really do love it when y'all like and comment. Also, I want to apologize if it takes me about a week or so to respond to some of your guys' comments, because I do like responding to comments that I have something to say back to, but sometimes it takes me a couple days, so I apologize about that. Hopefully it doesn't bother you guys. But he ended up leading off with this type of in here as I lead off with my landers. Now my thought process going into this battle was to try and quiver dance with Volcarona to hopefully win mid to late game. Depending on what set his Jirachi, and not Jirachi, but depending on what set his Zapdos and Garchomp are will determine on how easy that's going to be for me. So that was kind of my idea going into the match. So because Tapu Fini tend to carry enough speed to outspeed landers, I decided to hard switch directly into my Magearna as he gets a special attack drop. But it gets better because he gets a second special attack drop, and this match gets a lot better, don't worry guys. So even at -2, I'm still able to do a solid like 15-20% there. Obviously I would have done more if he didn't get 2 special attack drops, but hey, that's part of the game, I guess. So I Volt Switch into my Tapu Fini in hopes that maybe he himself would switch out, fearing that he couldn't do anything to me, and I do have Nature's Madness on my Tapu Fini, so I pull a double switch into my Magearna, predicting his switch into Jirachi, and you guys guessed it, he gets a 3rd special attack drop. That is 20% to happen, and he got it 3 times in a row. Now, that actually really matters because this Tapu Fini would easily be at way below 50% at this point. And having that extra damage on Tapu Fini later in the match would have been very helpful to me. So I go for the Floral Cannon, just wanting to get off as much damage as I could, as this turn he's gonna make an odd switch into his Tapu Bulu. I'm not really sure why. Maybe he thought that I would just go for another Floral Cannon, maybe thinking that I was locked into it, but no, I am Assault Vested, so I will be able to Volt Switch out of here into my Landers, which I was foolishly thinking that, hey, at -1, even if he's Choice Banded in grassy terrain, I can easily live 2 Wood Hammers, right? Right? No! Oh my lord! That does so much damage! And then I go for my Stealth Rocks. And this is absolutely terrifying because at this point my Landers was gonna be my main answer to his Garchomp, and now it's been severely weakened. So I don't want to risk him potentially being faster than me, so I'm not going to stay in and go for the U-turn. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and hard switch on out of here into my Volcarona, which looks absolutely amazing shiny, I might add. I love the color scheme, man. The purple looks so nice with the white and the golden wings. Oh, it's beautiful. So I go for the Giga Drain here, and this is where him getting all those special attack drops really mattered, because I could have easily 2-hit KO'd him here with my next Giga Drain, but I didn't want to risk potentially not killing him and then taking a Surf, because that would be really bad for me because I don't have any bulk invested into this Volcarona, and if anything I can save Volcarona to potentially take a Wood Hammer from the Tapu Bulu later in the match. So he's actually going to switch out into his Nylago here as I switch out to my Magearna, which means I will be able to either go for the Flash Cannon or Sphere, or go for the Volt Switch. And ultimately I go for the Flash Cannon on the options that maybe he thought I would overpredict as he brings in the Jirachi. I then stay in thinking that maybe he's going to go for a U-turn, predicting me to switch out, knowing that I wouldn't want to stay in, but he goes for the Iron Head. Thankfully, get a little bit lucky there and I don't get flinched, so I can get out of here, go into my Volcarona and put myself in a pretty good position of where I can maybe Quiver Dance, or if I really wanted to, I could definitely go for the Fire Blast. But because his only real switching to my Volcarona is the Nylago, I'm actually going to predict that and go for the Hidden Power Ground and get off a clean 60%, which is really good for me because now this thing is a little less of an issue, as I'm going to bring in my Magearna here. He's just going to take this chance to get up his Stealth Rocks, which is fine. As long as he doesn't get up T-Spikes, then we're in a good scenario. So I was thinking that he was going to switch out here, not wanting to take a potential Flash Cannon coming from my Magearna. But no, he stays in, gets up T-Spikes, and that's actually going to be really, really annoying because now I have to defog them away ASAP so the rest of my team doesn't get poisoned. And then I brought the incorrect Alakazam to this match. As many of you know, Alakazam is supposed to have Magic Guard, but this one did not have Magic Guard, which means not only do I take Rocks damage, but I also take Toxic damage. And I'm just going to Mega Evolve here to just Mega Evolve now. My thought process was that if I brought in Alakazam, I could not Mega Evolve, still knock out this Nilago, and maybe bluff that I had the Focus Sash later in the match, but obviously because I don't have Magic Guard, I've already lost so much HP, and I've done pretty much nothing outside of just take down Nilago. And this also plays a role later in the match, but this was just 100% my mistake, so I can't be upset about it. As he brings in the Garchomp, I don't want to take a Dragon Claw or Earthquake or potential Stone Edge, so I switch into my Landorus on the off chance that maybe, just maybe, he did go for the Earthquake, but no, he does end up going for the Stone Edge, and he's going to be able to knock me out. And this kind of sucks because Landorus was my Stealth Rocker. Now, this does give me a really good opportunity to defog with my Tapu Fini. The only downside to that, though, is that he just gets a free switch back into this giant ass threat called Tapu Bulu, and I completely overlooked Tapu Bulu going into this match. I honestly did not think it was going to be as big of a problem as it is turning out to be. So I'm able to get rid of the Rocks and the T-Spikes, which is really good for my team. Now at this point, both of our entry hazard Pokemon are gone, unless for some reason he's got Rocks on Jirachi or Rocks on Garchomp, which having double Stealth Rockers on the team just really doesn't make any sense if you really think about it. So I'm still thinking that we are in an even playing field right now, no hazards. This is just going to be a back and forth match, as here I'm just going to sack off my Magearna because honestly I don't really have much use for it. Plus I did predict him to want to go for the Stone Edge, so if he does miss his third Stone Edge here, then what I can do is get off a really good amount of damage with my Floral Cannon. Even if I don't knock him out, I'm still going to bring him down very, very low. But of course, he is able to hit the third Stone Edge. And my Magearna is not well trained at all. Man, after this match, I'm definitely going to have to take it to the mountains. So I can get a free switch into my Garchomp here, and I'm going to force him out. And I make a pretty aggressive play here, and I actually go for the Outrage. I know this seems odd, but I was really, really positive that he wouldn't leave in his Tapu Bulu. Plus, if he did want to bring in Jirachi, I can 2-hit KO him with Outrage at the amount of HP that he's at. But he actually ends up bringing in the Zapdos, as I do a little bit over 50%. That comes to play a role later in the match as well. I'm going to go for my second Outrage here. Now, I'm not sure if I only got a 2-turn Outrage or if my Outrage turns got reset, but I'm going to be able to switch out here into my Volcarona, and because he is not in the grassy terrain, he shouldn't be able to 2-hit KO me. Plus, I'm definitely going to be faster than him, as that did almost half of my HP. Why is Tapu Bulu so strong? Now, I don't think that you can get flame bodied by Wood Hammer, but if I had got the flame body on Bulu there, that would have been really, really good for me. So what I can do here is go for a Quiver Dance as he brings in the Tapu Fini. I'm thinking that Tapu Fini can do nothing to my Volcarona. So after getting up the second Quiver Dance, I should be in a pretty good spot to potentially sweep the rest of his team and make a comeback. But of course, he has the Haze. Now, him having Haze crossed my mind, but lately Tapu Finis have not carried Haze. They have Moonblast, Nature's Madness, Taunt, and Defog. Haze has been very rare on Tapu Fini from what I've seen lately. So I'm going to go for another Quiver Dance here, expecting him to just try and go for the Surf, but he reveals his final move, which is a Taunt. So this Tapu Fini can literally not do anything to me, which means I will be able to knock him out this following turn. And this was still a little bit annoying because, like I said, if he hadn't got those special attack drops very early on in the match, I most likely wouldn't have had to deal with the Fini here, and then I still could have Quiver Dance on the Tapu Bulu, maybe set up the +2 and then swept from there, but hey, them's is the breaks. As in comes the Garchomp, very positive that he has Scarf Chomp, so I'm going to be forced out here as I bring in my own Scarf Garchomp. He is able to do over 50% to me, which means if I lose the potential speed tie here, that's going to be really, really bad for me. But because I'm pretty positive he doesn't want to risk a speed tie, I'm going to switch out myself in hopes that maybe he would have switched into the Jirachi or even the Zapdos really, but I mean, at this point I was just kind of sacking off my Tapu Fini to see what he wanted to bring in, because Tapu Fini really doesn't do anything in this match. Zapdos 2-hit KOs me, and Bulu pretty much just annihilates my soul. So I am just going to leave it in here for that fodder, as he ends up going for the Wood Hammer. I was hoping that maybe the recoil would knock him out, as he just gets a crit to kind of rub salt in the wounds, but no, he does end up living at a very solid amount of HP, as I can now bring in my Alakazam, and I will definitely be able to knock him out with either the Shadow Ball or the Psychic, depending on what move I wanted to go for. And this is again where me not having the correct Alakazam really sucked, because if I had the Magic Guard, I still probably wouldn't have had to Mega Evolve here, and I maybe could have forced him into the Jirachi or forced in the Zapdos to weaken it, because he might have not felt comfortable in bringing in the Garchomp, knowing that I could potentially be sashed. And if I had stayed at full HP, I could have actually lived the Dragon Claw, lived a Stone Edge, and an Earthquake in grassy terrain, depending on what his final move was, which might have been Outrage. As long as it was an Outrage, my Alakazam would have been able to live, and I could have weakened this Garchomp. And as I bring in my Volcarona, my best bet at this point to still have a chance to win this match is for him to get Flame Bodied and for Dragon Claw to not do enough damage after the burn, so I can maybe set up a second Quiver Dance. Unfortunately though, that first Dragon Claw just does way too much damage, and even after the burn he is going to be able to knock me out. So at this point, I just have my Garchomp against his Garchomp, his Jirachi, and his Zapdos. And I basically have to lock myself into Outrage, win the speed tie, not get KO'd by Jirachi, and then get a high damage roll against Zapdos and not hit myself in confusion. So, I win the speed tie against the Garchomp, which is really, really great. But now, I have to hope that Jirachi doesn't have the Ice Punch, or that he has no move that can one-shot me. So in comes the Jirachi, and I'm going to go for the Outrage. Like I mentioned earlier, Outrage is a 2-hit KO at the amount of HP Jirachi is at, which is really good for me, as he doesn't have the Ice Punch. I live the Iron Head, which is really good, and then I get a 3-turn Outrage, which means I'm not going to hit myself in confusion here, and I'm going to be able to knock out the Jirachi. And now it just comes down to, if I don't hit myself in confusion and I get a high damage roll. After the very unlucky beginning, I'm getting a little bit of luck here, so I can potentially win this. So I'm confused. Don't hit myself in confusion, and I'm gonna go for the Outrage, but he lives on like 2%, and he's gonna knock me out and just... Oh, why? Why? We're so close to victory. So close to victory, man. I was on the edge of my seat there near the end. Garchomp almost put the team on his back and pulled out the victory, but hey, that is Pokemon for you. Either way though, I thought this was a really, really good match. I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to hammer that like button down below, guys, and to answer the question of the day. With that being said, I will see you all tomorrow. Check out the 2 previous uploads if you have not seen them already on the end screen. So thank you all for watching, guys. Later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in a knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears of hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.